For the entire view on this story, we go to our 360 panel. On the liberal side, Democratic strategist Robin Biro. And for our conservative view, Peter Van Voorhes, chief strategist at Magnum Strategies. Thanks for joining me, gentlemen.
Great to be with you.
Scottie.
So, Robin, I have to ask, has the political vitriol gotten so bad that politicians and the media are not safe?
You know, I'm concerned, Scottie. I think we all are. And this isn't just against the media. We're seeing this happen in the civilian side, too. A lot of fights within people are breaking out and assaults, that kind of thing. So this, you know, it's just hyped up. I'm really glad to see the President of the United States today issuing a unifying message. We needed that sooner, but I'll take it now. And, you know, we've just got to come together because at the end of the day, we're all Americans. And this tribalism isn't helping.
Absolutely. Now, Peter, the White House did put out a statement talking about unity. However, you still hear some rumblings. And are you expect the left to blame President Trump's rhetoric for these bombs being sent?
I expect some on the extreme left, too, just as I expect some on the extreme right to say, oh, this is clearly a false flag attack from the left. But at the same time, I really hope that all of us as Americans can come together and say, look, maybe the attacks against Trump supporters, various things like that, we disagree on. But sending letter bombs to people doesn't matter who it is. We don't do things like that as Americans, and I really hope that we just take this as an example of political discourse gone way too far, especially before such heated midterms.
I mean, but come on, Peter, you've got to have a villain. You've got to have somebody to blame. So is it fair to start putting blame on anybody at this stage of the game?
If I were to blame someone, I don't like to do it immediately, but if I were to surmise something that is maybe, perhaps, made this worse, I think there have been more people on the left than on the right, perhaps some people like Maxine Waters and others, who are going out and calling for violence. Again, I'm not saying that this person did it because of that. This person is totally responsible for it. The left didn't directly cause it, but they didn't help the situation either. The right hasn't been perfect, but the left has been very, very angry against the right, and they've expressed it in a lot of violent ways on the radical side, and that's how they express it.
You know, to Peter's point, Robin, I mean, it has definitely ratcheted up a little bit more and more every single week. Do you think we're past the times of civil political discourse?
Yes, and that can't become the new normal. You know, I was nervous back on the campaign trail when Donald Trump was offering to pay people's legal fees if they were to assault protesters. I felt like that might have set a precedent, and we did not adhere to Michelle Obama's call that when they go low, we go high. We've been engaging just as much on the left. Peter is correct. We are just as much to blame. I think it's a little too early to put blame on anyone, but honestly, look at both sides right now are not doing good at handling this. Other than right now, I'm glad to see a unifying message that this is not acceptable. Oh,
but come on, Robin, do you think people are actually going to listen to it? That's the problem with this. Peter, yes.
I mean, I just want,
it is.
Can I just jump in here? Here's the thing. Michelle Obama, look, she obviously has a much probably higher public approval rating than Hillary Clinton, but people listen more to the Hillary Clintons and to the radical lefts on that side. I'm sorry. Donald Trump, any little anecdote you can bring up, Donald Trump has not called for violence against people. The left has. And again, if this is a conservative who did it, if it's a left-winger who did it to try and influence the election, we don't know. I'm not going to jump to conclusions. But regardless, if we're talking about the general political discourse and who's contributed the negativity around it, the left has done it. Donald Trump rightfully won this election, and at the end of the day, vote him out if you don't like it. But attacking people at restaurants and doing stuff like that, that's setting things up for future violence. That's taking it to the next stage, and it's not helping.
Well, that's the thing, Robin. Do you think we're going to see more future violence? I mean, we've seen, obviously, last year there was the baseball shooting with the Republican congressional at the practice. Yes. I mean, that was bad. That was probably the worst. Now you've got this. Is there a way to kind of ratchet this all back and put a stop to it?
We've got to find some kind of a way, and traditionally that's been coming from the president, from the top itself. That's why I was so glad to hear Donald Trump today. It might have been a little bit late, but what he actually said was actually very good, and it was a message that Americans all needed to hear. So I think that we may start to see this dial back some, and especially if we have more people from the left also denouncing this, I think that we can kind of quell the tide, Scottie, because this just cannot be the new normal. We can all agree on that.
Peter, do you share that optimism?
I share the optimism, but as far as the president being late, the president wasn't late. He didn't know these bombs were coming because, unlike a lot of people are saying, Donald Trump and the right didn't send these bombs, as far as we can tell. So he denounced it, and pretty much everyone in conservatism, including myself, the second we saw that news from our friends over at CNN, who we have a lot of friends over there on the left, we denounced it because we disagree with it. So the president has done everything he can to stop this, and frankly, I'm very, very glad that we caught it before someone got hurt, because that would have been just horrific no matter who did it, and I'm glad that Americans are safe today, regardless. Regardless of the political violence, no one died. Thank God for that. I think we can agree on that, right?
Well, Peter, Robin, thank you so much for having your civil conversation. I hope these are the more conversations that we have around the dinner table than what we've seen today. Thank you, guys.
Hey, YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.